we need to start from scratch, totally from scratch for this project, because when you are doing a metric drawing, everything is different, okay? So I am back at the opening screen for AutoCAD Lite, and I am going to go up to the little A in the far left-hand corner and say New. And from Template folder, I am going to choose AutoCAD Lite ISO, International Standards Organization. There it is. Just the generic one right there. So normally we do this generic one, ACAD-LT, but now we're going to do ACAD-LT ISO. Click on that and open. So there is your generic ISO drawing space. Okay, I'm going to make sure that we are getting started on the right track here by typing in the word units, U-N-I-T-S. And it's so important that you don't blow this, that it's worth taking this, step. So I typed in units, and sure enough, you can see that it is in millimeters right there. So if you had typed in units on any of our previous drawings, this would have said inches. There they are. But millimeters is what we want, so I am definitely getting off on the right foot here. Just for fun, I can test the defaults out. I can take a line and say, let's make a 100 millimeter line, and click anywhere and drag it. 100 millimeter would be 4 inches, right? So I'm going to type 100 and hit escape. That's small. That's what 4 inches looks like. Let me zoom in on that. So if we were doing a and we'll hit the dimension and see what the default dimension looks like. Probably zoom in on that a little tighter. So that's 4 inches. Most of our drawings are in the 8 to 10 inch range. So does that look good? That's just the defaults on the dimension style. There is one thing I'm going to change on that dimension style right away. And I think I'm just going to do the one thing. So let's go to that right now. And so I don't know if you guys remember, but to change dimension style, you check annotation right here. And it's the it's the second one. So this is ISO 25. I'm going to click on that guy and say Manage Dimension Styles. Guess what I'm going to do here? I'm going to go to Modify and Primary Units. And I want the zeros to show. See how it says it has a precision of 0.00? I want those zeros to show. I'm not sure why it doesn't default to that, but if you look at zero suppression here, I'm going to uncheck trailing. Okay, and then I'm going to hit OK and close. And so that way I can see that it is 100.00. And interesting thing, I'll zoom in on that. Instead of using a point, they use this comma. So that's, I know, a little weird, but that is a tradition with the metric dimensioning. Okay. So that shows our precision right there. And I think it's a good idea to maintain that. All right. What else have we got to do to get this thing set up? We need to do our layers because we don't have any. So I'm going to click the layers button and I'm going to click new. And you know the deal, construction. And color. You don't have to use my colors, but you know I like to be consistent. Line weight on that is going to be light, so like 15, 18, something like that. Okay, next layer. Dimension. And I prefer the white for that. And my line weight will be 35. New layer. Hidden. In my hidden color, I like to use yellow. And the line type, I got to load that up just like before. Come down here and pick hidden. There it is. While we're here, I'm going to load up the center line type as well. And why not just load up the phantom? I'm not sure if we're going to do any section views in the near future, but might as well have it handy. There it is. So for this one, I am going to choose hidden. Okay. Next layer, center. Change that hidden line type to the center. And that color is white. Okay, so I've got my thin construction line at 15. I've got my dimension hidden and center lines at 0.35. And I'm now going to make my object layer. And that is my blue. And that is my heavy. So I'll go with that 53 on that. Okay, so those are the basic layers. We can add the phantom later on if we want. And we'll get started with our construct. Oh, you know what? There is some other thing I need to show you. I'm going to stay in the object layer to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I'm currently in the object layer, and if I draw an object line, there you go. You know what? I think I need to change that. I copied, sorry. Okay. So it looks thin. That's what I want to point out to you, that my object layer looks thin. So to turn on line weight, it's not, the line weight, the thickness of the line is not on by default. I know you guys probably don't remember this because we did it like half a year ago, but if you type LW for line weight, enter, you get this box and you can check display line weight. So it by default does not display. So I'm going to check that on and hit OK. And there we go. Now, the thickness that it displays on your screen is different than the thickness that it prints out. You can adjust this display thickness. The display thickness on your screen has nothing to do with how thick it prints out on paper. And I know you guys aren't getting that experience as my students normally do. They normally get to print out on paper. But as far as it's displaying, you can change that. So when you type LW, you see the display scale is adjustable. So if I bump that up, you can see the line gets thicker. And yet my construction line, let's do that. So there's that. So it is thin, and let's do one of the in-between lines. The dimension line here was an in-between line. So you can see those are the three line weights I have. 15, 35, and 53. And when I type LW, as I bump the scale up, it becomes more noticeable because the thin one pretty much stays thin, but the other ones get fatter and fatter. Again, it is just for the screen. So you can adjust that to whatever you want. If you like seeing these object lines really thick, then you can bump that scale up. I'm going to keep it down somewhere around here. I think that's about right for my display purposes. Okay, awesome. So my drawing is set up. I've got my dimension style corrected. All I did was uncheck the suppression of those zeros. For the layers, I did our standard layers, and of course the original, the very first thing we did was create a drawing from the AutoCAD Lite ISO templates. So we are ready to get started here. First, the next thing I'm going to do is save this drawing because it's all perfect. So I'm going to save this thing to my desktop. And I forget what it was called, the clamp, something like that. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started on the drawing itself. We are going to do the side view first. And the reason we're going to do the side view is because the side view is true size. I'm not going to try to do the foreshortened views or the auxiliary views before I do the view that is true size. And I am going to draw it basically in this layout. So going like that, okay? So that's the general shape that I'm going to draw this thing in first. Kind of opposite, I'm rotating it around, and that's just so I don't have to do as many hidden lines. Okay, so construction line first. I'm going to turn off my background here. There we go. And I will then create the angled line that makes up that angled surface, which is at 30 degrees. XL, enter, A, enter. But I'm going to type in -30. So -30. So my angle, XL, enter, A, enter, -30. Because that's the direction I'm having this guy go. And now for the offsets, the block, the clamp hook, I should say, is 16 millimeters thick. So my offset is 16. Both of these lines, there they are, 16 millimeters. So just to help you kind of get things situated in your minds here, this is the bottom. Whoa, sorry. Got that on the wrong, there we go. There we go. So that's the basic shape right there. And this is, so that would be the bottom underside of it. And these two lines would be the top side of it. And now I'm going to establish the basic lengths. So let's do this bottom side first. We are told that from the bend right here, right up on top, we have distances of 26, 42, 42, and 25. So let's do those offsets. Construction line. Through this point right here, I'm going to do offsets of first 26, and then 42, another 42, and lastly 25. I can dimension those for you very quickly just to help you out here. 26, 42, another 42, and then 25. Okay, so that makes up the bottom portion. And I just kind of guessed the length of this line. I'll now stretch it out to where it actually ends, which is there. And then with my object layer, I can finish off this guy. So there he is. And this one would go up to how far? I don't know. I'll just put it there for now. So the side view is coming together very quickly. At these lines right here, we have holes. And I could do those now if I wanted. Why not? So those holes are 16 diameter, 16 millimeter diameter. So it offset 8 on each side. So O, enter 8, enter. I'll just pick this one. There we go. And I'm gonna just do the one and then copy it to the others, because why not? It'll be faster. So there is the side view with the hole. Now I'm gonna change my LTS to 0.5, and that gets my hidden lines showing up a little better. So my LTS for this drawing is 0.5. And now I'm just gonna copy these guys to the other side. You know what, before I do that, I think I'm gonna draw my center line because, you know, why not? Save that as well. When you're drawing, how far is that gonna stick out? Well, 1/4 of an inch, right? So what is 1/4 of an inch in millimeters? It's 25 divided by 4, which is about 6. So let's just do that. So I'm going to offset this construction line 6 on both sides. 6 up, 6 down. And now I can draw that center line accurately. There we go. So that's one hole in the side view. Hidden lines were offset 8 on each side. I offset my construction lines 6 on each side to get the length of my center line, and now I can copy those lines from the center, where the center intersects the object line, and place them there, there, and there. So now I've got my 3 holes done perfectly. Okay, so that is it for the side view of the bottom portion. And now let's move along to the side view of the angled portion. So we are given distances of 76 from this bend right here. And then from there, 38. So 76 and then the radius of 38. So those are going to be our 2 offsets to get this length. To do that, we are going to need a line perpendicular to this. So let's do that. Go to my construction layer, XL, enter, click on that point. And what is the angle of this line? It's about like that, but you don't want to eyeball it. You want it to be right on the money. So what is that angle of? It's 60. There it is right there. So you can type in A, enter, 60, enter. Before you place it, sorry. So XL, enter, A, enter, 60, enter, and then click right on that line. There it is. So again, XL, enter, A, enter, 60, enter, and then place it on the bend intersection point right there. Get rid of these things. And now we are going to offset that line, the 76 and 38 millimeter dimensions. So O, enter, 76. And then 38. All right, and that's the end of this thing. Just pull those back and let me dimension that for you. So that's 76.38. And of course, that angled line right there was 60 degrees. Put this guy in place here. Awesome. The hole, or it's not really a hole, it's a slot that is centered on this 76-degree dimension is 26 millimeters wide. So if we offset 13 on each side, enter, 1, 3, enter. There it is on each side. We can then draw the lines that show that. There it is. The back side of that, the hook has no edges, so we will not be indicating anything with regard to that with hidden lines. So that's it. The oh, you know what? We should put a center line in here for this guy. So let's definitely do that. So we'll offset these guys 6 as well, 6 up, 6 down, and then do a center line from here to here. There you go. Okay. And that is the side view of this clamp hook complete. You know, I take it back. We got radiuses on these corners. What are the fillets and rounds are 3, so let's do that. F, enter, R, enter, 3, enter, and we'll hit all these corners. I don't believe, you know what, it looks pretty square here, but on the bend, but I am skeptical of that. I don't know. The inside one is definitely filleted. That is for sure. And it doesn't look like much when you, let's zoom in on that when we do it, but you can see there's a little bit of a fillet shows up when you do that. And for sure on these corners, of course. And interestingly, this guy gets it too. So we'll have to make some sacrificial lines here. Oops. Going back to my object layer and make some sacrificial lines so we can do it here. You zoom in on that. So from the corner just to anywhere, I have my nearest snap on, so that's making it easy here. Again, from the corner back and from this corner back. And now I can use my fillet command and go from there to there, from there to there. So that's important because that is a much more accurate representation. What I was debating about is this bottom corner here. When I look on the drawing, it looks really square, which you know what the reason is I look closer at the drawing, I can see a little check mark on the bottom. This little, I'll just draw it here. When you see a little check mark like this on a drawing, it's an old-fashioned indicator, but that indicates that this surface has been machined. So when it came out of the casting, it was probably rounded, but then it was machined flat, and that round got taken off. So that is why that corner is square looking in the drawing, or sharp, I should say. All right. Whoa. Zoom in on that guy. And that is definitely the completed side view. I think we'll end it there for now.